Today on the show, I have Joey Burns. Joey's main project is a band called Calexico. Calexico pretty much captures what it feels like to be in the desert. I don't know how else to describe it. Even outside of COVID times, I have a tendency to work in a tape trading kind of way where I will bring something up to a point and then I'll include other people in it and then we can do our back and forth process. And it was interesting talking to Joey because he is kind of the opposite of that and like always building things from the ground up with other people, or at least maybe not building up things quite so far to completion before he brings in other people. My conversation with Joey happened September 1st of 2020. Let's admit Joey. Oh, wow. That's a really tough Zoom profile picture you got, Joey.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Yeah, that's tough. That's super tough. You want to see mine?
Let's check it out. Oh my God.
Mine's Marilyn Manson taking a selfie with Nicolas Cage.
Too good. Too close. It's too close to home though. My God. It's awesome. So I got this. I'm going to start recording this bad boy.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good.
Nice, man. It's good to see you.
You too.
I have that exact same shirt.
Well, I'm glad you didn't wear it.
Yeah, I know. I went with my Class B uniform here instead of my. That's normally what I wear like on stage or those kind of Western shirts.
They ventilate well.
They dry fast. That was like.
Laundry is key.
Yeah, that's kind of like I sweat. I have this like really obnoxious sweating problem. It's not a really. I don't know if it's a problem, but it's definitely a thing. And so like from early on, I wore like all Western stuff because it just dries fast. and I don't want to put on a wet shirt that smells really horrible for the next gig. So
yeah. When I moved to Tucson in '93, there were a lot more old timers around downtown. And I loved just seeing them walking around with their old vintage shirts with their panzas kind of nicely contained with their shirts tucked in.
I know. That's why those things are so long, is so that like you can tuck it in and still like keep it all like, supported.
Yeah, it was when I started working with Mariachi Luz de Luna that I realized that having a pretty fit panza is considered a bonus, especially if you're playing guitarrón. You have something to sit
functional.
On. Yeah, it really is.
Man. So how you doing, dude? How things
doing? Good.
You feeling okay?
I'm feeling okay. Got the kids fed early. They're taking a bath right now.
Oh.
Afternoon bath.
Hey, man. That sounds luxurious.
I know. What do you do after school and lunch? Take a bath.
Yeah, dude. If I had a bathtub that would fit like an adult, I would take a bath like for after lunch every day. That'd be amazing. That's one of the things that I miss about touring is stumbling every now and then upon a really great bathroom with a gigantic bathtub. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer sometimes because it's like, this is so nice. The water pressure is so great here. Why can't I have this where I live? Why can't I have something like this where I live?
That would be great. There's a lot of things, you learn and you take away from traveling, right?
Yes.
And I imagine you enjoy traveling, right?
I do. It was a big part of why it was a big bonus to us starting the band, really. Mm-hmm. Is the traveling is just something we all were interested in anyway. Mm-hmm. And to do that and play music at the same time was just the dream.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up in Southern California, and I mean, that's all I dreamt of doing was just hitting the road.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was like our loftiest goal was to get a gig outside of town.
Yeah.
When we were starting.
Yeah.
Press our own record,
Phoenix.
Be able to hold our own record.
Best. It's the best.
And play a gig out of town. Those are like the two like most insane, loftiest dreams of ours.
Yeah. And now, so what are the lofty dreams now? Finding a great hotel, good food,
good coffee spot.
Shopping, coffee spot for sure.
Yeah. Wake up, find a coffee spot,
Yeah.
Find the best coffee spot possible within walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
Or short commute.
That's the daily ritual, for sure. In the States, touring with Iron and Wine, Sam Beam, the first thing he did was just get up, barely said anything. Oh, so sorry, Jim. You fell behind the some of the boxes.
Dude, quit throwing me around.
Did you say you were a fan of wrestling?
Yeah. So Sam was a big hunt for coffee person.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just get on the phone and find the independent barista, make a beeline.
We're touring. When we tour, we have a musician. You might know him, Robin Vining. Probably seen him around.
So.
Probably seen him around.
Yeah.
But when he came, he hadn't done quite so much extensive touring, so it was like going somewhere new when we brought him with us, because he'd never been there, and we're like, oh cool, let's just check this out. We got to go here, and it made it fun.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't fun before, but it just was a different kind of experience.
Everyone gets into their routine, and everyone's kind of doing their thing, knows in their books or their phones or whatever. So yeah, it helps to have somebody new, and because it is exciting. I mean, it is. I love it. I love traveling.
Forget that. You can't forget that it's exciting, and that even in the times where it does feel like you didn't get enough sleep, or you might be coming down with something, or whatever reason that you chose this, and you're actually sacrificing a lot to do it. So you better find some way to get satisfaction from this, get some reward from this, because what are you doing? You're really complaining about this right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And those moments come, right? Everyone has their way of kind of becoming sane again, right?
Yeah.
Or what we call it is, you start snapping, or are you snapping material is the question.
How does that work when you get in someone's face and ask them if they're having a case of the Mondays?
Yeah, right. It's just sort of somebody makes a comment, off stage, or just off, out of, from another room. It's hilarious, because it's a living and breathing experiment, right?
Yes.
And when we travel in Europe, we have a crew that's, multicultural. So we got Spanish, French, German, Dutch, Americans.
Did you just pick up people over the years that did good work and decided you'd want to work with them again, and now they're just your guys, your people? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, it's a good fit. I mean, there's always going to be those moments when people, lock horns or whatever, but and I think still just being there for one another and working through those moments, it just strengthens those bonds. And
right.
I enjoy it. I enjoy them. And then there's times when people, whether band or crew, can't make it, so you need to get a sub, and that's always entertaining. And then that kind of brings back that whole newness factor.
You must be really, really itching to get out. You're in your garage talking about Europe,
Yeah, I know. I miss it. I do. And you know what? I've been looking forward to taking my family to Europe. I mean, that's the dream, right? Is having them come along to see some of the sites, see some of the venues that we play in. I mean, they might enjoy it for a moment, but I think they would.
Yeah, there'd be the waves of we're doing this today, and then there'd be oh wow, holy cow, there's this.
Do you guys keep in touch when you're on the road? Do you guys?
Yeah.
Are they involved in, did they listen to your songs that you're writing? Do they?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, not sometimes I'll show them something and they'll be like, yeah, Dad, cool story, Dad. No, they like it, but I mean, I'm Dad. There's a
right.
There's a limit to how cool that is, no matter what your job is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think they sort of get it, because I think their friends who don't have that barrier of dad, think, oh, that's cool. And so they're like, oh, really? Oh, I guess he's cool. I don't know, cool. It's my dad though.
Yeah.
There's that
it's
struggle.
Always going to be the same. Yeah. At the beginning of this coronavirus, quarantine, we sat around the table just kind of writing and coming up with silly songs and things. And it was really fun.
Oh,
and
that's
I got into it for a little while. And we had a couple good ones. And it was great just because we, as we're talking about songwriting, or we will, I mean, we tried several different approaches, right? We did okay, I'm going to write some words or some lines on this piece of paper, then I'll fold it so you can't see it. And then I'm going to hand it to you, Genevieve, and you're going to write some lines, and then you're going to hand it back to me or hand it to your sister, Twyla. And let's just see what we get, and let's try to sing something out of it.
So
that was really fun.
No one knows what lyrics the other person has submitted for the group song.
Yeah, totally random. Which is one of my favorite go-tos, right? Totally random. But it was really fun. The other one was we took one of Genevieve's favorite songs, something about Havana, right? Havana and Atlanta. We kind of took that idea, that song is in a minor key, and I said, well, let's kind of take that shape and let's make it into a major key, because one of the complaints that I get a lot is that all my songs sound and feel sad. And if I'm playing piano in the living room or in the house, they'll come up to me and go, Dad, if you could just stop for a little while.
You're bringing me down, Dad.
Something happy. Basically, right? You're bringing me down, Dad. So, yeah, that's my job.
Yeah. No, that's
everybody down.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't think it's necessarily chasing like a depressed or a down kind of feeling. It's just that's what's captivating at a time. It just feels like an interesting place to explore, and it's not necessarily about capturing this sad moment. It's just the sound.
Yeah, it's sort of like my meditative state that I love to go to and spend time there, and it's. For whatever reason, maybe it just chills me out. Maybe it just sort of balances things in my life. I've been going there for forever, really, since I was a kid. Like my first favorite song that my mom would sing and play to me was one of the songs out of this lullaby book, or a children's song book. And it was the only one, I think, maybe one out of two that was in a minor key. It was All the Pretty Horses, All the Pretty Little Horses.
And that's in a minor key? I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, guess what? I came prepared.
So you're gonna do a lullaby in a minor key?
I mean, I've seen your work, my friend. I've seen your bloggery. Hush-a-bye, don't you cry, go to sleep, you little baby. When you wake, you shall have cake. It's the kid's favorite line. And all the pretty little horses, blacks and bays, dapple and grays, all the pretty little horses.
Yeah, of course you gravitated toward that. That sounds like a Calexico song. Or maybe you're just bringing yourness to to what you remember about that.
That was the first song that we recorded in another group called the Friends of D. Martin or D. Martinez.
Right.
We were doing a record for Sub Pop, and I called my mom and I said, hey, what was that song that I really liked as a kid? She goes, oh, The Pretty Little Horses. So I had her record a version and send it to me, and then I just kind of made it into something that fit, sort of a twang desert landscape. And I added a bridge and stuff, which is really fun.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that record. I remember seeing the video on 120 Minutes. Actually, you guys are looking tough in the desert,
Yeah,
rocking in the wasteland,
probably wearing the same shirt.
Yeah. Hey man, if it ain't broke,
that's why I wore it for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I really do. that color scheme actually does hide sweat pretty well too. It's like you wear like a red shirt, and pretty much by the end of the gig, it's black. But that particular scheme of blue, a little bit of white, it's like you're good.
Yeah. You must wear some kind of wristband, or like whatever you call those.
Yeah, like sport wristband, sweat catcher things. Yeah. No, I did once. And it was in Japan, and it was actually the opening. It was the opening band's merch. And it was like really obnoxiously hot in the club, and I thought this is the day for this.
Yeah, I miss Japan. We haven't played there in long time.
You were going to go there, weren't you? We were going to go there. We were like almost going to go there. So close, yet so far.
John Convertino has a drum set that he left over there.
Just waiting for him.
Just waiting for him for that next tour that never really happened.
No, that makes sense. So. You know, like we used to do that. We would like leave a B rig of gear at when we knew we were going to be like going to Europe or whatever. We'd leave a B rig there at the beginning of an album, and then so we didn't have to like ship stuff or rent stuff. It was because you go for like a month or something, and you pretty much bought your whole setup. So you might as well buy a set, have a setup, just live there.
Do you guys still have gear that's over there or no?
No, we don't have gear over there. I mean, we didn't really get over there. We did a little bit right at the beginning of October last year, which is when our album came out. And our plan was to be back there about now, and we probably would have done that. We probably would have left over gear. Well, actually, we probably would have left the drum set, but not our guitar stuff, because our guitar stuff is all futuristic computer things. Yeah, it's like the total opposite of what I imagine you guys do jamming in Wavelab is what we have going on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, but I mean, I think like anything, whether it's, you know, going on tour or moving forward, songwriting. You know, what my sort of aesthetics were 20 years ago and what they are now and what they'll probably be, you know, it just keeps on changing. And, you know, I look forward to trying totally different things. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that kind of pushes us is that we're trying to reinvent, we're trying to, you know, come up with a new way of performing or writing. And a lot of times it just feels kind of like the same thing for us. And that's frustrating.
You can't escape you can't escape yourself, no matter how far you try to push it. There is this center that was formed at one time, and yeah, you can push that a little bit, but it's really hard to get away from that. Some people might be able to get away from it further than others, but it's there, like that. Like what you originally qualify as good or rewarding to play is you. It's like your self, your complete self identity. I feel like with your guys' records, nothing feels exactly like an overdub. I mean, I know there is, but like it doesn't feel that way. Like everything is believable. Like I could be in the room, like hearing this. Even like the crazier things that are obviously affected feel human made for sure. Like maybe there's somebody in a booth that's isolated producing a lot of reverb or whatever, but like everything feels very human made. And I'm wondering if that came from just if that's how you've always heard things, or maybe that's a product of how you wrote initially, like, or of just like jamming, or is it intentional, or is it just kind of what happened is what I'm asking really.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I have a valid answer, Jim. I mean, I'm kind of going for, well, whether it's a two-piece thing that's recorded in a garage, I'm trying to capture that vibe. And it applies, you know, the songwriting and the music and everything sort of happens, the basic tracks all happen live normally, and then I'll add things afterwards, especially lyrics and vocals. I might mumble something and give John some direction as to where things might go. But a lot of times he doesn't know, but he instinctively now over years kind of realizes that, okay, this guy likes to explore bridges and, you know, has a little twist right before the last chorus, before the end. So it gives him an opportunity to kind of do his thing, his signature, you know. So, but I guess maybe from playing I played in the jazz band in high school, and I played in the orchestra as well, and then also in the symphony in college. So I like ensemble. I like different voices and arrangements. I love segues or transitions within songs. So those things sort of mirror my love for travel. Right. Or things that are new, seeing things that are new. So that's always kind of built in. And in regards to how do we arrange them or mix them or bring them all together, I think less is more. So if you have a mandolin part, nobody really, well, except for a few really great mandolin players, it's easy to do too much, right? But when I moved to Tucson and I was going to Value Village and all these great thrift stores, I picked up some of these albums that were like, Tommy Mottola and his 50 guitars, or Al Caiola, he's one of my favorites. He was a guitar player for Sinatra. And I love how they blended these instruments that have different voices depending upon which country you hear them in, right? In Italy, it's kind of a different feel than in Greece or in Appalachia in the States. So I kind of got into trying to blend different voices. So it could be like mandolin with vibraphone and backwards bowed banjo or something weird, I don't know, like that. But like put all those things together and then see if it makes sense, and then just not have them too obvious and not too loud in the mix.
It sounds like there's like some self-mixing involved. Like when you are in an ensemble, you do have to have that level of musicianship to not like, the Mr. Mandolin guy isn't going to get invited to jam session 2 if he walks out in front and gets in front of the micro. There's like some element of musicianship in self-mixing that whole thing.
Oh yeah, self-produced. Yeah, that's what we call it. Yeah, for sure. And that's something that we've instilled in a lot of the band members that we've been playing with for a long, long time. And so they get it. And even those that don't, I still like having them around because I think that chaos is a wonderful ingredient, right? You need that. You need that guy in the corner or that girl in the corner that's doing this incredible noise that, you look at, everyone's looking at them and then they realize, oh, shit, spotlight's on me. All right. You mean I get the wheel? All right. Check this out. And also, I love working with guests or having guests appear, on stage or in the studio, just so that it shows everyone like, hey, it's not all about this one or two people. We're going to focus on this person now, and let's see what we can do. Because I love accompanying people. I think that's where John and we've really kind of built up this rapport, is like backing you up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's fun. It's fun not being like the person who's driving the ship. I love creating something and feeling that just that rush of like, wow, I had this in my head. Now I hear it, and it's different, but it's something, man, I did this, like I made this, like it's real, but it's so nice not to have to just be free of the judgment that comes along, the internal judgment that comes along to that, and just respond to the just be in charge of like pushing the energy forward rather than the path and direction of where it's heading. It's a totally different vibe.
I think that's great, and that's why I love backing up other people or working on film music or whatever it is.
I think I would have that same sort of judgment though if I was doing like a score or film something. Depending on what kind of direction you're getting. Have you done a lot of work like that? Like
a little bit over the years. Not regular amount of work, but enough that it's fun just to kind of see what you can do and what directors or music supervisors are looking for. And we just at the beginning of this year, we got a request, and lo and behold, we had lots of time. So we went in and I knocked out like 50 versions of an idea for a main title theme of a show that's not yet come out yet. And they gave us an example of what they liked. So I gave them, like 40 versions of just a variation on that thing, just in case they were, because you never know, are they really married to that one thing? And then I did one that was quite different, and maybe another one that was even more different. And they liked the one that was different. And John actually really preferred the one that was different. And you only had 30 seconds.
Right.
So
was the example of what they liked provided one of your songs, or was it like something that they thought you would?
It was. which makes it even harder in a way, because it's easy just to do that. So I spent a whole week just writing ideas on my phone, and it came together pretty well. It's fun doing it.
That sounds really cool, like a fun sort of challenge. I love prompts of a kind. I have a difficulty with just coming to an idea with a totally blank page. Like, it has to be some sort of basic step that removes me from the process to get any sort of like motion happening, and then I can rejoin the process once I notice it's got some steam.
Yeah. So how do you do that? You just come in with a couple songs written, or some chords or lyrics, or?
The most common way is like for me to start playing drums, which is just fun. And I have I'm not trying to be a drummer, but with my limited musicianship there, with my limited technical ability there, I hope that my musicianship kind of covers for that, and I'll write a part that is not probably anything our drummer would do, but is like a riff in a way that I can then pick up my guitar, which I do know how to play, and just come up with like variations on that. So it's like if I can get one kind of step that is a no pressure, completely out of the box thing to give my real self an opportunity to respond to that, then it's much easier than sitting down and trying to decide how I feel and what I want to do.
I'm totally with you. Yeah. That's the same way for me, except I grew up playing drums, but I abandoned it a long time ago. And John is such a great intuitive drummer, and dynamic, and a drummer that has a voice and can read situations, and not just the music but the lyrics. And so he responds a lot, and sometimes he can respond, like all of us, too much. So it's that play and that dialogue that I really need in order to get an idea going. Because we'll go into the studio, wherever it is, and we'll just start writing ideas. And if we like something, then we'll stop and listen back. But we're recording mostly the whole time. And good engineers keep recording.
Yeah. Well, that sort of makes sense then, because like you're writing around a jam, so like you're hearing the idea take form as like you playing against a drum set in a room. So like I think the natural tendency would be to add on from that, which feels like you're just in the room with people playing, like a really awesome, well-recorded, well-engineered version of you being in the room while this is happening, except without the drummer a little bit further away. So it's just the cymbals not in your ear.
Yeah. Initially we would record in an old warehouse right on the train tracks in downtown Tucson. And it was beautiful. That's where Wavelab's first location was. And it was great because, again, with the chaos being the train coming, it kind of allowed you to like play and write and record, and knowing that, we'll just do it again, or hurry up.
Yeah.
We're in a good spot. We got something. Either hurry up and record, or wait, let's record until the train starts coming.
The train just passed. Okay, we have about 5 minutes to go. We get 3 takes in.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the one. So sometimes those little added distractions or chaos can really help kind of keep people focused more in the moment, rather than on the red light or on what am I doing. And that's kind of a nice way to kind of allow yourself to step outside of yourself.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, totally. It's like you spend all this time doing the technical side of things for your own benefit.
Oh, yeah.
Just to get like literally your chops up. And then there's a point where you need to turn that off and just be part of the energy that's pushing forward. Hopefully you come up with something that contributes to the right direction for it, or maybe like the completely wrong direction, but it works in a weird way.
Accidents are great things that happen to us, right? And I've heard you talk about that with other friends, and it's true. I mean, happy accidents are the best.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a lot of ideas. A lot of songs come from total accidents that you take as a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody will make a mistake, or I'll back up the session to an odd spot and hit play, and I'll hear the chord progression out of the right sequence. But then I just get an idea from it. And then you got to you're off to the races. You got to explore where that came from.
Yeah. I mean, and then the possibilities are endless, and you could probably make several records just on one session, just with all the ideas and being inspired by maybe an outtake or maybe an overdub that didn't fit the one song but could go somewhere else. And all those things really help out, and songs are funny. It's like now the purpose of music for me is now my kids are building up their own favorite songs, and so I hear that a lot, and without being judgmental, I mean, I really appreciate a lot of the music that they listen to for various reasons, and or if I just hear somebody blasting a song in a car going by, and you don't quite hear exactly what it is, but there's something about the feel of it and the distance from it that it kind of encourages you to want to explore it, or try to replicate that, or go in that car and drive off to them.
I want to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, exactly, right? And that's why I bring people with us on tour, or I try to bring opening artists that we can then collaborate with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And bring them out into the set and see what sort of things we can do together. I really love that. I mean, that's one of the things I like about touring. And traveling helps the songwriting immensely.
Touring for me is an idea gathering kind of stage. I don't, since what I do, since how I form things and form ideas isn't necessarily, it's rarely based on jamming. It's really like more, I don't know. It's like I take little pieces of things and then I develop it when I have time, usually here, either on my own or maybe with Zach or sometimes with everybody. But it's never based on, like, writing songs on tour is like, I don't want to, it might also be because I don't want to just be singing a whole bunch in sound check, because I'm really paranoid about losing my voice. And I don't like to do a whole lot of singing, like when it's not like the show time, because I'm in town for this one purpose and I want to make sure that's good. I
have to, I mean, I'm not much of a professional singer, or that's not my forte. So I, usually the first week, I go in and my voice gets shot, and I have to really watch how I treat my body and my voice. I call home and my wife is just like, oh yeah, there's that sound in your voice again, all raspy and rough. And
isn't that the worst? Like when you're just when you're playing gigs and trying to sing, but you really shouldn't be singing. You can do it.
It's painful.
Somehow you get through it.
Yeah, well, I try to practice more, and I try to warm it up, and I try to do smart things rather than just not taking care, getting rest.
I was like super sick when we did Saturday Night Live, and it's like, okay, you gotta figure this out, man. You kind of can't cancel this one. It's sort of like it.
Yeah. Plays right into your emotionality and
no pressure.
Everything that you're psychosomatic.
I've never been more nervous in my life for anything. Like I can do anything now. I'm not scared of anything after doing that. It's like, oh my God, this is so scary.
I still get nervous though. I still get nervous every show, or however big or small. I still get nervous. I tell my kids that too, just so they don't feel alone when they're doing their Zoom meetings and presentations.
I'm still I'm still petrified just talking in front of people, but like performing, no problem. I can do it all, anywhere, doesn't matter. But like just speaking to people, like if I had to address a group, it's just like.
Well, here you are. You're doing this thing. I mean, when did you start doing this? This idea of songwriting.
In like March, I always struggle with lyrics, and I'm wondering if somebody has like the answer. I've realized no one does. There is no answer.
There is no answer. Just keep trying different things.
It's like the secret to running faster is you run faster. There's really no secret. It's really no trick.
But as far as songwriting too, I was kind of curious. Who are some of your faves? Who do you like?
Man,
today doesn't have to be all the time. It could just be today, or ones you used to really love, ones that kind of got you going.
It's tough. I really like Jesus and Mary Chain. They're, because they're. I mean, it's been said a lot, but I think like they were the first people that I read a quote from where they're like, if it doesn't sound good on an acoustic guitar, then we don't work on it. Even though a lot of their albums are pretty abrasive, pretty feedback filled, that the core of it is this progression that totally makes sense with a melodic line that could work in any circumstances, but they choose to make this abrasive presentation with it. And their Stoned and Dethroned album that's all acoustic is like, I was like, wow, this is like perfect. Just the way they construct stuff and the arrangements, it's just like perfect songs. So them for sure.
And that's great because, they've got so many layers of sound. And so at times it can be hard to get through and find some of the nuances, but yeah, I mean, at the core, there's some great right.
But even when it's hard to get through, it's like that's a choice, and it does a thing. There's a lot of people that present this totally bubblegum, really simple, almost obnoxiously simple song, but they just layer it in the most obnoxious distortion, and now all of a sudden it's somewhat cerebral because it's a challenging presentation. Like we're daring you to like this catchy song, even though we're bathing it in distortion. It's like it's like the sweet and savory kind of mix. That's when people do that sort of thing. That gets my attention.
You need both, right? Or you don't need it, but there happens to be, you have the music component, you've got the lyrical component. How do they work? There are some lyrics you read and you're like, okay, that doesn't feel like much. It doesn't read like much, but then combined with the music, it could really be something.
Yes. If you were put like All the Pretty Horses, you put this like a kind of uplifting, if you were just read those lyrics, it'd be like this, oh, that's nice. But you present it in this minor key, and now all of a sudden has this depth to it. It just feels like there's a heightened sense of story to it. Like if you stack happy on top of happy, it's like, I don't care. Why? Everything's good. Everything's just good. Like, shut up.
I just finished writing a song like that for this project we were doing for the holidays, and it was the song that my wife said, maybe you don't need to put that song on the record or project, It could be its own thing. I'm like, you're right. You're totally right, but I have to put it in here anyways, and I'll just deal with it later. But it was we tried to get away from it, and being not in the same room, it posed some challenges. And that's when I talked to you last week or whenever it was we last spoke, I was telling you that, I had some fresh experiences, and that is trying to write and record and send tracks and get, songs mixed from afar, which is not that difficult, right? We found ways to overcome, like mixing for sure. That's one of the hardest parts. Or talking to somebody who you can't pick up the phone and talk to. Like we recorded with somebody in Africa, this guy, Bombino, in Niger. And we were communicating through his manager in New York, and there's only so much that we could ask, and he sent back some great stuff, and we were able to use it. But it's nothing like being in the same room.
Right.
And then the same thing with a friend of ours who I've never met in person, but I've communicated with online, this singer in Portugal. And she's recording herself. We get the track back, and it's, well, first of all, I had a friend translate some lyrics into Portuguese and just kind of sing them as best as he could, but he's a much lower singer. So then she sent back these tracks where it was really low, and it was too low for her. And I'm like, okay, try this. And I just butchered the pronunciation, but I just wanted her to know that she could kind of go higher in the register in her voice where it was more comfortable. I mean, through technology, we were able to make certain things happen that was kind of amazing that it all came off.
This is a couple extra steps either way in the process.
Yeah, but that was fun, and then she sang some lines of mine, but she only sang like the first half of each line. So she did like, instead of I'm looking out the window at the sea, overlooking the coast or something, she would say, I'm looking out my window at the sea. That's cool. It's just more simple. So here's your editing right here.
Was that on purpose, or was it just sort of like?
I told her, I said, hey, you've got free reign. I mean, whatever feels good and sounds good to you. And but I know I've heard some other songwriters like Jason Isbell and I'm sure a lot of others who, where editing becomes much more important. And then there's that time spent well before the session where you're writing and then you edit, maybe show it to a friend or a family member. And then, and then you come up with, something that feels pretty good, you feel good about. And this was just sort of a really interesting experiment to see where the heck this thing would go.
Was that because you had to, or was that because these people you wanted to collaborate with and that you would have worked remotely anyway?
I think that we probably would have worked remotely, but because it's expensive, right, to go travel overseas anywhere, or even nowadays, and the fact that it's not even possible, but yet we've kept in touch, and she's bugged me so many times, like, hey, when are we going to do a song together? You keep on saying you're going to, do a song, and so I have a lot of ideas, but I never really come through and finish them, and that's my problem. I'm slow. I don't have any studio here in the garage, but I got this phone.
Yeah, so you're just a guitar and voice memos is kind of like your demo setup right now?
That is it. This is right here.
It's really funny how that is everyone's setup. You'd think that more people would have some kind of home multi-track situation, but really no. Like, it's, I have this, but I still have like all my starts of things are voice memos. They're just
right. Yeah.
Whatever's easy, around, right? Capture it somehow in whatever form.
And that's the thing too. It's like sometimes when we record demos, I really get connected to the vibe and the feel of a vocal. And in the studio, it's become sort of a challenge to try to get into that same character, right? It really takes a lot of time or talent, and so for me it's just more time trying to get used to that, because you could write something great, but then you got to perform it live the same time you're throwing down your guitar, which I'm fine with doing that. Or if I have lyrics, it's easy for me to take lyrics and then just make something up, and I'll do that. Like one of my favorite songs was a collaboration we did in 2010 and 11 with Pieta Brown. She sent me a bunch of lyrics, and I took them with me down in New Orleans to this really great studio called the Living Room Studio. It's a converted church, and it's just big and open, and John and I set up, and we were far apart from each other, so I could sing and play some things at the same time, and that really helped me to get into this vibe. And but as far as like songwriting, I love working in all different sorts of ways. It doesn't have to be all one way.
You're going to burn out fast if you exploit the successful method. Like you have to keep moving it around. And you know, like you're saying, like having people come and guest, that's a great way to mix that up, because instantly you have to totally redo your method, because there's this person and they don't know, they have their method, you have your method, but when you work together, you're sort of approximating what the other person might have and how much you can assert your method on them. And so it's like this dance that you end up with something that isn't anyone's method, but it's a new creation.
But then there's also you both have to feel good about it, right? You have to feel like, no, this is something that I like. But if there's something that makes you cringe, I mean, you have to be honest in that.
Well, of course,
too.
You got to address that.
You have to, but sometimes, there are times when, especially if you're working on someone else's project, because I'm sure you've helped other people out or helped them produce or whatever it is, or just guest on a session, you want them to be happy. And so there is sort of, I guess what I'm trying to get at is you have to be accommodating and find that middle ground.
Yeah, no one's asked me to do something that I thought was way out of character for what I would put my name on. It's usually people come to me because they have a basic knowledge of what I'm going to do already, and they want me to do more of that. They want me to be me. I don't have to fit in with
That's great.
I'm not taking 100% random commission work. It's like there is some reference there of why I'm there.
Have you ever sat around and wrote songs either yourself or with others for something completely different? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I tried doing that once.
Yeah.
It's sort of funny. It's like, I had this idea of pitching like Meghan Trainor song. I love this idea. This like the traditional like Everly Brothers kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but there's this like classic kind of pop sort of song, and she was presenting this like updated pop version of that. And so I thought, like, what would it be like? Okay, I'm completely stuck working on my rock band things. I'm gonna try to write a pop song for this because people do that, They're like, I wrote Beyonce the song,
Oh yeah.
And so I did. It was horrible.
No, it didn't work.
It was me trying to like purposely check myself in. Actually, I worked on it with Courtney Marie Andrews. I was
She's
like, hey, let's write a song for Meghan Trainor. She's like, okay. This is all right. This is completely left field. And like, I just kept sending her like we weren't around each other. I just kept sending her voice memos of like, okay, what about this?
Didn't work.
And it was bad.
Are you a believer in the art of discipline? How about that?
The art of discipline?
Like
how so?
Well, whatever, you're just waking up every day, you're going to a desk or whatever, a cafe in the morning.
Oh,
and
right.
You're just going to write. You're just going to fill up a blank page, and you're just going to do that every day. Right. And then later on, you'll assess if there's anything there that you can carve into a story or a song. Or
yeah, I've actually pitched coming on this show to Stephen Pressfield. Have you read War of Art?
I have not. No.
Oh, that's a good one. It's all about. Yeah, it's basically like, I mean, he's an author talking about writers like overcoming what he describes as resistance.
Yes.
And discipline is a huge way that he works from that. Yeah. It's like at this time of this day, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to work for this long, and when I'm done, I'm done. Doesn't matter if it's any good. If it sucks, I can throw it away. But this is what I'm going to do. It's kind of it's like it seems like another way of giving yourself a prompt in a way.
Yeah.
It's like
helps.
I'm just doing I'm not in my own way. I'm not overthinking this. This is just what I'm going to do, and what happens is going to happen. I'm going to let that happen. And then inspiration might catch up to that. But in the meantime, you've trained yourself to look for those opportunities to develop. So when real inspiration does come, those muscles are conditioned to run with it.
I think you're right. I think it's a great way of putting it. I love sketchbooks, I love artist sketchbooks. They're some of my favorite things. You see the pencil lines, you see the lines crossed out. There might be words. I love just looking through sketchbooks or or images of sketchbooks. Because sometimes those images or those directions are more interesting than the actual finished product, in a way, So I think it's good. I don't have a discipline right now, but I'd love to have one.
Yeah.
Mowing the lawn.
It's hard for me to keep up with it.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
I can do it. I can keep up with it for a little bit, but then I get sidetracked pretty quickly by an idea I want to chase.
Right.
That takes me away from the discipline, and it's hard to come back to it.
The one discipline that I enjoyed was it was before the cell phone, but it was just having the Sony Walkman and having cassettes and recording in ideas into the cassettes, or just recording random field recordings, and then making these tapes and then listening back and then writing and making up titles, or maybe if I really liked something, I would write down the lyrics of it in a book or something. And that was the one thing that got me going, because there was so much internal thoughts and critique going on that it was hard to get into songwriting, and especially with singing. So what helped me out was listening back where the cassettes were slowed down, and also smoking weed back then. It really helped me to like get into the song and the music. But I liked having the cassette recorder with the speaker on it, so then you could put it in a room or put it in another room and then walk away from it and still playing like a little radio. And I love the sound quality too. I thought it was great for writing and thinking about ideas. And for sure, like picking up an instrument and going into a room where it just sounds good. There's something about, if you have an iPhone or whatever kind of recording device, then you can capture that. And that kind of journey of going into a space with an instrument or just your voice, that can really inspire what you write, or how you perform that idea. So that's something that really has helped me out a lot. And it seems to be a carryover too to what we're doing now.
Right.
So I'd rather record in a house than, like a sealed box.
Yeah, it's an environment that feels something.
Yeah.
It feels like something rather than surgical.
So, a couple weeks ago when some friends, Sergio and Chris, came up from Tucson, I just moved to Boise, and they drove up my minivan with some gear, and I rented them an Airbnb, and we set up far apart from each other in the living room, dining, kitchen area, and then we just recorded some ideas, and then we were able to take breaks and cook and be as distant and smart as possible. But it wound up being really great being in a house. We only had one complaint. The guy came over and knocked, and then we wound up talking to each other outside for like 45 minutes because we had so much in common. He's like, "No way, you're from California," and he was telling me about his past and about the music that he likes. We went to some of the same concerts, like we saw the English Beat.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it was just a funny coincidence. So he was trying to get to sleep, and I was doing this guitar take, which I knew was a little loud and maybe too late. It was 10 o'clock, and he was like, I have to go over there and just say something. And I felt horrible. But then,
yeah, it's rock and roll, man.
It's rock and roll, yeah. Rock and roll in the suburbs.
You're just keeping rock and roll dangerous.
Oh my God. So where you are you isolated? Where are you? Are you in the basement? There's no basement in Arizona.
I could be anywhere right now.
Where are you?
I'm 600 feet underground in a bunker with no windows. Yeah, it's the typical studio. Like I could be anywhere, and I would never know what time it is or where I am. We're in Tempe.
Yeah.
We're kind of right in the flight path here. So
perfect.
There's like just like there's trains probably all over your early records. Yeah. There's airplanes all over our records.
Love it.
Still to this day, it's like I'll be working with like a new engineer who might come in here and it's like, there's planes. I'm like, yeah, it's our sound. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's because seriously, man, like after things get mixed, like you'll never hear it.
No.
There's a perfectionist in you that wants to like avoid it, but you'll never hear it. And if they do, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I am a big fan of that. I like some of those crazy sounds that happen, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of these things that I was working on, I wanted to sing through my kids' walkie-talkies, and they make these obnoxious noises that I couldn't figure out how to stop. It just kind of makes like a little
squelch.
A little squelch. Yeah, it's like a squelch kind of sound. So when Sergio and Chris were mixing it, they just kind of kept on repeating. I think they sampled it, and they kept on repeating it with delay. And I was like, okay, all right, good. They're like, do you guys have any more, kids' toys with crazy sounds? That'd be good for this song. Something.
Yeah, you need like a 808.
Yeah.
Start making beats.
I like when you can just push a button and it just has a gazillion different beats, right?
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time you wrote a song in the Begin rhythm, right?
Yeah, like it's been a while.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah. Like all the different different rhythmic patterns you can choose that I don't know who actually uses.
I don't either.
That's what I would do that as a kid. I'd scroll through my Casio SK1 with all those and just like bump up the tempo to like obnoxiously fast. And just, like who uses this? Like,
so good.
What do you do with this? Like, it makes no sense. Every it's like 64th notes. Like who plays against anything against this? Like, what do you do with it?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh man.
Distortion.
So what's up with the? Just run it through a distortion pedal. Call it a I don't know. Call it art.
Yeah, that's going to be my solo record. It's going to be one of those old Casios with those beats, but instead of it being really fast, just being really, really slow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could totally work.
It could. I'll let you know.
It sound like early Genesis probably.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Peter Gabriel.
Yeah. I mean, that's just super slow old Casio waltz beats. I'm probably actually gonna, I have my SK1 here. I'm probably gonna actually.
You should grab it. We could start on this project now. There it is.
This is the keyboard I grew up with.
I love that.
Thank you so much for making time to chat with me during the school week here from your secret writing headquarters there.
Yeah, my new headquarters. What am I gonna do now? I guess I got a lot of boxes. I can unpack some of these.
You got to go back to that your quarantine writing project where one of you submits an idea, the other person can't hear it, and you just contribute that way.
And that would be amazing.
Joey Burns, everybody! Yay! Joey is such a decent human being. It's like you hang out with them and then you feel like there's hope for humanity. I remember sitting in with another group of people at some show where there was like 6 bands and Calexico was playing, and Joey came up to me and was like, "Dude, you got to come play with the mariachis." I was like, I don't know how to do that. And so like he this is like during the show, he comes over on the side of the stage I was watching and says, "Okay, you got to play, man. It's like A minor, E minor, D, or whatever. I forget the chord change." It's like there's people waiting out there. Like he's just giving me a how to play with mariachi tutorial while his set was going on, and then made me come out and play with the whole Calexico and mariachi ensemble. It was pretty rad. Thanks a lot, everybody, for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back next week. I hope